What happens when love, betrayal, and jealousy collide within the ranks of those sworn to protect and serve? In this chilling true crime story, we unravel the tragic downfall of Deputy Marcus Holloway, a respected law enforcement officer whose hidden affair with his colleague's wife set off a chain of events no one could have foreseen. Marcus was admired in his community, a symbol of trust, duty, and loyalty. But behind the badge, he carried a dangerous secret. A forbidden relationship with Tiana Brooks, the wife of Officer Calvin Brooks, his close colleague and longtime friend. It was a secret that would spark a storm of anger, betrayal, and revenge. When Calvin discovered the affair, emotions spiraled out of control, leading to a deadly confrontation that ended in murder. This is the story of a love triangle that pushed one man past his breaking point, shattered an entire community, and left devastation in its wake. How far would you go if the people you trusted most, your best friend and your spouse, were the ones who betrayed you? Stay tuned as we uncover the shocking details of jealousy, infidelity, and murder in the world of law enforcement. You won't believe how this tragic story unfolds. Subscribe now and join us as we explore some of the most shocking cases ever told. In the quiet heart of North Carolina, the Sheriff's Department stood as a pillar of strength, unity, and trust. Among its ranks were Deputy Marcus Holloway and Officer Calvin Brooks, two men who had worked side by side for over a decade and had grown to see each other as brothers. They had joined the force on the same day, eager rookies, fresh out of the academy, ready to serve and protect. Over the years, their bond deepened through shared triumphs, near misses, and dangerous calls that tested their limits. Marcus Holloway, 36, was the epitome of calm under pressure. His composed demeanor and sharp wit made him the voice of reason in the department. He had a gift for de-escalating tense situations, whether in the field or among his colleagues. The community respected him deeply, and he earned a reputation for being dependable and fair. At home, Marcus was a devoted husband and father, constantly trying to balance the weight of his career with the responsibilities waiting for him behind his front door. Calvin Brooks, 37, was cut from a different cloth. Fiercely passionate and relentless, he approached every case with unmatched intensity. His fiery nature often made him the first to charge into danger, while his razor-sharp instincts carried him through. His boldness earned him respect, but sometimes clashed with Marcus's measured, steady approach. Yet, despite their differences, the two forged an unbreakable brotherhood. That bond was cemented one night, during a chaotic drug bust. Calvin found himself pinned under heavy gunfire. Without hesitation, Marcus risked his life to pull him to safety, shielding him until backup arrived. From that night on, Calvin never forgot that Marcus had saved his life. Their friendship was sealed in blood and loyalty. Off duty, Marcus was like family to the Brooks household. He was a regular at family dinners, often sitting at the table with Calvin, his wife Tiana, and their two young children. Marcus's calm nature made him a natural mediator when Calvin's fiery personality caused arguments at home. Tiana often leaned on Marcus for guidance, comforted by his wisdom and level-headedness. Tiana Brooks, 34, was remarkable in her own right. Intelligent, graceful, and magnetic, she was a heartbeat of the Brooks family. Her charm and community spirit made her a beloved figure in town. She frequently volunteered at local charities and could light up any room she walked into. At department gatherings, she stood proudly by Calvin's side, admired as part of a power couple within the community. Over time, Marcus and Tiana's friendship deepened. Marcus's thoughtfulness didn't go unnoticed, remembering her favorite coffee, carrying her groceries, or offering words of encouragement when she needed it most. Their conversations, once innocent and easy, gradually shifted into something more personal, more intimate. Tiana began sending Marcus selfies of her new hairstyles, asking, "What do you think of this one?" Marcus would compliment her, convincing himself it was harmless. But he knew the line between friendship and betrayal was blurring. Tiana, too, began to feel something more than gratitude toward Marcus, an emotional connection that went beyond casual friendship. What began as camaraderie was transforming into a dangerous attachment, one that would test loyalty, destroy trust, and lead to a violent outcome no one in the community could have predicted. Marcus made Tiana feel seen in a way Calvin, consumed by his demanding job, often did not. Then came the moment that set everything into motion. Calvin came home early from a shift and caught sight of Tiana stepping out of Marcus's house, holding a small package. "What are you doing here?" Calvin asked, suspicion edging his voice. Tiana quickly replied, "I was just dropping something off for Marcus's wife. You weren't supposed to be home yet." Calvin studied her for a long moment, his expression unreadable. Tiana forced a casual smile and brushed past him, but the encounter left a shadow of doubt in his mind. For a while, Marcus and Tiana managed to keep up appearances. Their relationship hadn't yet turned physical, but the emotional connection was undeniable. Tiana continued texting Marcus, sharing jokes, venting frustrations about her husband, and confiding in ways she never did with Calvin. Marcus, flattered by the attention, began to anticipate her messages. It was only a matter of time before the line was crossed. That night, Calvin's worst fears were confirmed. While Tiana was in the shower, her phone buzzed on the nightstand. His pulse quickened as he picked it up. The message on the screen made his stomach sink. "I did the test. Thank God I'm not pregnant. We've got to be careful next time." It was from Marcus. Calvin's mind reeled, his hand trembling as he scrolled through more messages. None were overtly romantic, but the subtext was clear. Late-night chats, compliments, pictures she'd sent. His wife, his Tiana, was having an affair with a man he considered a brother. That evening, Calvin confronted her. His voice was low, cold. "What's going on between you and Marcus?" Tiana froze, her face draining of color. "What are you talking about?" she asked, trying to sound calm. But Calvin's glare and the evidence in her phone left no room for denial. "Don't lie to me, Tiana. I saw the messages." "I know." Her shoulders slumped as tears welled in her eyes. "It wasn't what you think," she whispered. "We didn't mean for it to happen." Her admission shattered the last thread of hope Calvin had held on to. Rage erupted. Their argument escalated into a screaming match that left both emotionally drained. From that moment forward, Calvin became consumed with suspicion. Every glance between Marcus and Tiana, every excuse she made to leave the house, felt like another knife to the chest. He began watching her closely. One evening, when she claimed she was running errands, he followed her, only to find her car parked outside Marcus's home. Fury boiled inside him as he sat in his car, fists clenched around the steering wheel, the incriminating text replaying in his mind. At work, the tension between the two men was impossible to ignore. Calvin's clipped tone and cold glare spoke volumes. One morning, Marcus tried to reach out. "Everything good, man?" Calvin's glare was ice. "Why don't you tell me, Marcus? Everything good on your end?" The venom in his words made Marcus's chest tighten. Calvin knew. The breaking point came during a departmental meeting. Calvin could no longer contain himself. He stood and, in front of their colleagues, accused Marcus of betrayal, not just as a partner but as a brother. The room went silent as Calvin's voice, raw with rage, echoed off the walls. Marcus tried to deflect, but the damage was done. The trust between them was gone, and the department was left stunned. At home, Tiana was caught in the fallout. Calvin's anger became unbearable, his accusations relentless. She tried to insist the affair wasn't physical, but the text about the pregnancy test haunted him. He couldn't believe her. He wouldn't. Rumors swirled through the department, the once-tight trio unraveling before everyone's eyes. Then came the final blow. It was a Friday morning when Calvin stumbled across a clue that erased any lingering doubt. Tiana said she was leaving town to visit her sister for weekend, something she often did to clear her head. But just before she left, a text notification flashed on her phone. Calvin picked it up and read, "The house is ours tonight. Can't wait to see you." It was from Marcus. Calvin's heart pounded. His wife wasn't going to see her sister. She was planning to spend the night with Marcus. Rage consumed him. All day, he thought about what to do, his anger simmering hotter by the hour. By evening, he couldn't contain it anymore. He left the station early, parking a block away from Marcus's house. Through the curtains, he spotted movement. His blood pressure spiked. Quietly, he walked to the front door. It was unlocked. Calvin stepped inside, his footsteps heavy against the carpet. The closer he got to the bedroom, the more his fury consumed him. He pushed the door open, and the truth hit him like a blow. Tiana and Marcus were tangled in the sheets, oblivious to his presence. The room froze. Tiana scrambled out of the bed, clutching a blanket around her. "Calvin!" she cried, her voice trembling. "It's not what it looks like." But the panic in her tone betrayed her. Marcus's face went pale. "Listen to me, man. Please. It's not what you think. Not what I think." Calvin bellowed, his face twisted in rage and heartbreak. "You've been lying to me for months. Both of you. You think I'm a fool?" His voice cracked, pain bleeding through his fury. Tiana reached for him, her hands outstretched. "Please, Calvin, we didn't mean for this." But her words only fueled the fire. Calvin's hand went to his hip. The cold metal of his service weapon felt natural in his grip. He raised it. The first shot thundered through the room, striking Marcus in the head. His body jerked back onto the bed, blood splattering across the walls and onto Tiana's face. Her scream pierced the silence. But Calvin wasn't finished. The second shot came moments later, ensuring there would be no survival. Marcus's body slumped lifelessly, crimson spreading across the sheets. Tiana stood frozen, trembling, her face streaked with tears and blood. Calvin's chest heaved as he stared at her, eyes filled with rage and disgust. "You brought this on yourself," he muttered coldly. Without another word, he turned and left, driving straight to the station. The adrenaline began to fade, replaced with a hollow emptiness. But he never once hesitated about what he would do next. Walking into the office, his service weapon still in hand, he approached the chief's desk. The room fell silent. "Chief," Calvin said flatly, "I just killed Marcus. He was in bed with my wife." Chaos erupted. Officers leapt into action, disarming him as he calmly extended his wrist to be cuffed, offering no resistance. Calvin sat quietly as detectives pressed him with questions. His responses were short and flat, stripped of emotion. "Where's the body?" "At his house." "Was anyone else involved?" "Tiana. She was there." Meanwhile, officers rushed to the address Calvin gave. What they found inside was horrifying, even for the most seasoned among them. In the bedroom, Marcus Holloway lay lifeless across a blood-soaked bed, the walls smeared in dark red. On the floor sat Tiana, rocking back and forth, her face still streaked with dry blood. The events that led to Marcus's death were tangled in emotions strong enough to shatter reason: jealousy, betrayal, and rage. Calvin, a man who had once devoted his life to protecting others, had broken in the most devastating way. But what truly drove him to pull the trigger? Was it just jealousy or something far deeper? The betrayal cut twice, once from Tiana, the woman he had trusted with his heart, and again from Marcus, his closest friend. The discovery of their secret affair, compounded by lies and deception, left Marcus isolated and humiliated. For a man whose career was built on order and justice, the chaos in his personal life became unbearable. His anger festered, his sense of betrayal grew, until his need for resolution exploded in violence. But should Marcus have seen it coming? In hindsight, his decision to pursue Tiana, despite knowing the risks, was reckless. As a law enforcement officer himself, Marcus likely underestimated the danger crossing a man like Calvin, a man trained to act decisively in high-pressure situations. Did Calvin think their friendship would shield him from Marcus's wrath, or was he simply blinded by his own desires? The investigation into Marcus' murder began the moment Calvin walked into the station and confessed. Detectives pieced together the timeline of events, uncovering a trail of secrets and misplaced trust. The first clue was Calvin's discovery of text messages between Tiana and Marcus, messages that, while not explicit, revealed an intimacy no husband could ignore. Suspicion grew when Calvin followed Tiana to Marcus's house under the guise of errands. But the most damning discovery came just before the shooting. A message from Marcus reading, "The house is ours tonight. Can't wait to see you." Tiana's role became a point of contention throughout the investigation. Though she claimed she was simply a victim of circumstance, the evidence told a different story. Messages suggested she had encouraged the affair. One, in particular, revealed a pregnancy scare. "Thank God I'm not pregnant. We have to be more careful next time," raising questions about whether she fully grasped the consequences of her actions. Some speculated she had intentionally fueled Marcus's passion, knowing it would provoke Calvin. Others argued she was simply reckless, caught between two men, her choice is spiraling into chaos. Calvin was arrested and charged with second-degree murder, a charge reflecting not premeditation, but an act fueled by overwhelming emotion. His defense rested on his mental state, arguing he acted in the heat of betrayal. The prosecution, however, countered that Calvin was a trained officer, fully capable of controlling himself, yet he chose violence. The courtroom overflowed with spectators. Witnesses testified to Calvin's loyalty, his service, and his devotion to family. Yet the prosecution's case grew stronger when Tiana took the stand. She admitted the affair but insisted she never believed Calvin would resort to murder. Her testimony painted Calvin as a man pushed beyond his breaking point, yet also cast doubt on her own role in the storm that followed. In the end, the jury found Calvin guilty of second-degree murder. The judge handed down a 30-year sentence, weighing both Marcus's death and Calvin's once honorable record. The decision sent shockwaves through the community, leaving friends and colleagues mourning the loss of two men whose bond had been destroyed by betrayal. Now serving his time, Calvin expressed remorse in a letter from prison. "I let my anger and pain consume me. I destroyed two families, and for that, I'll never forgive myself." His words offered a glimpse into the emotional toll of his choices, but they did little to ease the devastation left behind. If this story made you think, made you question, made you wonder, what would you have done? Subscribe for more gripping, real-life stories that challenge everything you think you know. Because in the end, truth is always stranger than fiction. Join the journey. Hit that button and be part of the next stories. This is Ruthless Realities. Until next time.